It looks like the electric dream is having some technical difficulties. For years, we were told the EV revolution was an unstoppable force, a rocket ship to a gasoline-free future. We all saw the charts, the soaring sales, and the breathless headlines. Automakers bet trillions on this electric promise. But it seems the rocket just hit a major patch of turbulence, and the engines are sputtering. The numbers are in, and they're telling a complicated story. After years of explosive growth, the EV market is showing signs of a significant slowdown. The industry wants you to believe this is just a blip, a temporary market correction. But the truth is far more complex and, frankly, far more damning. The market hasn't just stumbled. It feels like it has driven full speed into a wall it should have seen coming. We're about to expose the truth behind the market dip that the industry doesn't want you to know. This wasn't some sudden accident. It was a pile-up of ignored warnings, broken promises, and some serious flaws in the master plan. We're going to break down the 4 key failures that led to the great EV slowdown of 2025. So what's really going on? Let's look at the data. In the second quarter of 2025, new electric vehicle sales in the United States dropped by 6.3% compared to the same period last year. Now, that might not sound like a catastrophe, but in a market that has known nothing but rocket-like growth, it's a seismic shock. While total EV sales for the first half of the year did set a record, this recent dip indicates serious volatility. Even Tesla, the undisputed king of the EV world, saw its sales decline by over 12% year-over-year in Q2. To put this in perspective, this is one of the only significant sales drops in recent memory. For years, the growth curve looked like a chart of a plane taking off. Now, it looks like that plane has hit a ceiling and is starting to nose down. Of course, the industry has plenty of explanations: supply chain hiccups, economic jitters, the usual excuses. But these feel like blaming a runny nose when the patient has a serious underlying illness. The foundation of the EV boom was built on some shaky ground, and now we're all seeing the cracks. So what really went wrong? The story starts with the most fundamental promise of the EV age: being able to charge your car. Failure 1, the infrastructure lie. The first, and maybe the most critical failure, is the infrastructure lie. We were promised a seamless, convenient charging experience that would make gas stations obsolete. It was sold as a luxury resort, but for many drivers, arriving has felt like checking into a motel with flickering lights and no running water. The reality has been a nightmare of broken chargers, confusing apps, and painfully long waits. While the number of public chargers has grown, the network's reliability has been a persistent disaster. According to a J.D. Power study from early 2025, a staggering 14 to 16% of all public charging attempts in the U.S. failed. That means roughly 1 in every 7 times a driver pulls up to a plug, they could leave without a charge. Can you imagine if 1 in every 7 gas pumps in the country just didn't work? There would be riots. The problem runs deeper than just faulty hardware. The federal NEVI program, which was supposed to be the cavalry pouring billions into creating a robust national charging network, faced significant suspensions and delays. The rescue mission got stuck in traffic. This isn't just an inconvenience. It's a fundamental breach of trust. The promise was simple: charging your car will be as easy as charging your phone. The reality for many has been more like trying to get a signal on a flip phone in the middle of nowhere. Early adopters were willing to put up with it. But as EVs went mainstream, the patience of the average car buyer ran out. They were sold a vision of the future, but handed a system that often feels broken. The second failure was completely predictable, yet the industry seemed to sleepwalk right into it: the incentive cliff. For years, the EV market wasn't flying on its own. It was being carried aloft by a giant government subsidy balloon. That balloon was the up to $7,500 federal tax credit, which made a $50,000 electric car suddenly feel competitive with its gas-powered cousins. But then someone took a pin to the balloon. The federal government announced that the EV tax credits would officially expire on September 30th, 2025. This created a frantic, artificial surge in sales. But what happens when a massive discount vanishes overnight? The market braces for a hard landing. Without that $7,500 crutch, the true cost of many EVs was laid bare, and consumers got sticker shock. The price gap between an EV and a comparable gas car, once narrowed by the government, suddenly became a chasm. Automakers, who had priced their vehicles assuming the government would help foot the bill, were suddenly exposed. This wasn't just about new cars. The credit for used EVs is also set to expire, which is like pulling the ladder away from a second-hand market that was crucial for making EVs accessible. The incentive cliff didn't just slow down sales. It revealed a hard truth. The EV market wasn't self-sustaining. It was hooked on subsidies, and in the fall of 2025, it's heading for a serious withdrawal. If the sticker shock from expiring incentives wasn't bad enough, the third failure delivered another devastating blow: the depreciation nightmare. Buying a car should feel like an investment, but for many EV owners, it felt more like buying a new smartphone. The second you walk out of the store, its value has already plummeted. According to a March 2025 analysis, electric vehicles lose their value significantly faster than gasoline cars. Over 5 years, one study found that the average EV sheds a shocking 58.8% of its value, compared to just 45.6% for the average internal combustion engine vehicle. Cobalt and lithium and the undeveloped state of battery recycling became mainstream worries. The industry promised a green revolution, but the end-of-life problem was like being sold a healthy meal in a plastic container that will never biodegrade. This combination of immediate recalls and long-term sustainability questions created a powerful narrative of risk. For the average buyer, an EV started to look less like a reliable appliance and more like a complicated, expensive, and potentially hazardous piece of new technology. So, is this the end of the road for electric vehicles? Not all, but it is the end of the party. The great slowdown of 2025 was a brutal but necessary wake-up call. It was the moment the market stopped running on hype and started demanding results. The industry has been forced to confront the problems it ignored for years: the unreliable charging, the addiction to subsidies, the catastrophic depreciation, and the crisis of consumer trust. The path forward isn't about more promises. It's about fixing what's broken. It's time to clean up the mess. That means building a charging network that actually works, engineering vehicles that hold their value, and being transparent about the challenges of safety and sustainability. The EV revolution isn't dead, but the easy part is officially over. The industry has graduated from its easy introductory courses and is now facing its final exams. The big question is, can they fix it before it's too late? I've laid out what I see as the 4 main causes, but now I want to hear from you. What do you think is the single biggest reason for this slowdown? Is it the charging, the cost, the depreciation, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on the future of transportation, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks for watching.